Hello everyone, this is The Focus Weekly and my name is Farai Mwakutuya. Today I'm speaking to Zimbabwean winemakers about the industry, its prospects, opportunities and challenges. Hello everyone, The Focus Weekly continues and I'm now joined by the founder of Mosi Wines and Spirits, Joseph Dhafana, all the way from Cape Town, but here in Harare at this point in time. Great to have you on the program. Now, let's begin by just understanding, we know that you've traveled a very interesting and very inspirational journey to get to where you are. So let's understand where you are now in terms of the wine industry as a sommelier, I think, which is your how you started and got into this industry. Where would you be, or where would you be ranked in the global space?
Well, sommelier, good question. But then we really don't put ourselves in cages or in these rankings. But you can never really stop studying to be a sommelier. I mean, you can always be a master sommelier. You can always push the boundaries. But I think I've done what I think was good enough to be one of the top qualified sommeliers in Africa, and not just Zimbabwe. That's why I actually went to Africa. The certificates which I have, they are kind of like really high level certificates. Whatever South Africa was actually offering, I do have all of them, and I also extended my roots to Court of Master Europe as well. So. Yeah, I'm really, I can work anywhere in the world as a sommelier, to be honest.
What skills does a sommelier need?
A lot of things, to be honest. I mean, you're going to need to know the viticulture side, which is the growing of grapes, the viniculture, which is making wine. You're going to need to know, like, literally everything about beverages, from water, spirits, your beer, teas, and coffees. Because most people think that being a sommelier is just knowing your wines and knowing how to pair food and wine. It's not just that. There's a lot of there's really a lot more really to consider if you're gonna be a sommelier in a very good establishment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So exposure is very important.
Indeed, it is very important, and you're gonna have to make sure that you equip yourself with very good certificates and knowledge. Because remember, you'll be serving people from all walks of life. I mean, from France, I mean, they're known for actually drinking and producing very good wines. Spain, Italy, and I mean, among other countries. So you need to know what's happening where in the world.
Mm-hmm. Now, apart from obviously being a sommelier, we now know you've gone into business. You're an entrepreneur. You founded this very successful wine and spirits company. Tell us about that journey. What lessons have you learned along the way?
Such a long story, but I actually founded Mosi in 2014. Mosi was actually founded with money which I'd actually been saving from being a gardener and in the restaurant, as well as a barman, and also as a waiter. So I literally started with one barrel of white wine, which was Chenin Blanc, and one barrel of red wine, which was Cedar. That was like 7 years ago, 2014. So now we're making just under 20,000 bottles, sorry. And look, I mean, at first it was a hobby, I would say. But then in 2017, I realized that, I mean, I can actually turn this to business. So yeah, it was remarkable. I mean, it was not really easy, but someone had to do it.
Do you grow the grapes yourself and manufacture, actually make the wine yourself? How do you do that?
So I don't have vineyards, but I do buy in grapes from certain vineyards, which I've got actually contracts with. So we do harvest. I'm like full hands-on. So we buy in grapes, we press our own grapes, we make sure that we macerate or we ferment the grapes and all that stuff. All the way to labeling, bottling. I do my own blending because I really trust my own palate, to be honest. So yeah, it's really like full hands-on.
You're based in Cape Town. How easy was it to set up this company and to break through in that industry? First of all, in a foreign country, but also being a black person.
Look, at first, like I mentioned, it was more of a hobby, so I wasn't even taking it very seriously. But then when that transition of actually taking it from being a hobby to business, that's where I really began to realize that it's not really easy. It was a little bit painful in a way, because there are really lots of things really to consider, even from registering your own company. If you're a foreign national, it's really not that easy at all. Look, I mean, it's just that if you really determined to do something in life, I mean, if you know where you want to be, there's no goal which is too high. I mean, you can swim in the oceans, you can climb all these mountains, I mean, because you know exactly where you want to be. So it was, as difficult as it was, I mean, I managed to actually sail through and get to the point where I said, okay, you know what, I think the company is set now. What needs to be done is to make a bit more wine and sell wine. Making wine is easy. Anyone, you can make wine tomorrow, but then selling wine is a different story. Yeah, it's a different subject. Yeah.
What do you need to do to sell wine?
Firstly, you're going to have to make very good product. Then secondly, you need to spread your wings. By this I mean you're going to have to have presence in the country where you're making your wine. You're going to have to be known there. Then that's when you actually start to broaden up and go to like regionally, like Mosi Wines, of course in South Africa, but we are in Zimbabwe, we are in Namibia, we are in Kenya as well. So we're looking forward to go to Botswana soon, and Angola, Rwanda. We're big in exports, so this is like international. There is the Netherlands, the UK, Estonia, Switzerland, Germany, France. Then 5 states in USA as well. So you're gonna have to make sure that you really market your wines, you market your product very well. And in most cases, people like, of course, the quality of the product, and I mean to be backed up with a story. We are very privileged that we really kind of like have a better story to tell, because I believe personally that wine is a bottled story. I mean, we all can't be movie actors, we all can't be pilots and all that stuff, but then because those people tell their stories in different forms and on different platforms. So I thought of like really telling my story through bottling it. So when you're having a glass of Mosi wines, you'll be actually listening to my story, you know. Yeah.
Some of these wineries around the world have been around for centuries. How have they been able to do that?
Well, precisely. I mean, I think continuity is key, and these guys are actually keeping it in the family, which is very important as well. Look, I mean, you're going to have to pass it on to the next generation if you really want to maintain the legacy and to keep the common going, I would say. So by actually keeping it in the family, it's very easy for my grandchildren really to look after this product or after this brand properly, because they know it's theirs.
Now, you've spoken about, you did mention certain countries that used to have vineyards and not anymore. Let's come back to Zimbabwe. You obviously are based in Cape Town and doing very well there. But as you said, it's always good to be home. So home is best. Do you see yourself coming back home at one point to bring the brand and locate it back here in Zimbabwe?
Honestly, home is where your heart is, and my heart is here in Zimbabwe. Yes, there are incredible opportunities really, which can be resurfaced, which can be able to be done for us to have vineyards in Zimbabwe. But then again, we've good climate in certain pockets, like in Vumba area, Honde Valley and them. I mean, so yes, we can actually have vineyards that side. But then it's not just about the vineyards, you know. I mean, you need the land, and you need the equipment really to till that land. You're going to employ the rightful people. We need people who are actually educated to grow vineyards or grow vines. So we need all those things, and massive investment, and probably the government also probably have to kind of like come into play, because most of these big projects, they need a bit of financial muscle, not only from the investors, but then from the government itself. So it's very possible. I mean, we have the skill, we have the land, you know, funding can't be that difficult if you have all those key aspects.
Yeah, true. And the policy, I suppose, what you're talking about is the environment that will make it attractive to invest. And I think what's also important, this industry, this business you're in, is closely interlinked with tourism and hospitality. So
correct. I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, the policies have to be quite conducive and good to attract investment. I mean, wine is quite linked to hospitality and of course tourism, because I mean you need to serve your glass of wine in a restaurant. That's the hospitality part. And imagine really having a tour, like a tour bus or something like that, which can carry people from Harare to Vumba for wine tasting and back. You know, it's those things. I mean, it brings in employment. I mean, of course, we're going to have that bus driver. You know, these people are actually spending money. I mean, that's the forex which we need. You know, like all those things really, they really come to play. And if you have like serious discussions and all that stuff, I mean, obviously we can come up with something.
Well, Joseph, I know you are also very passionate about getting more people into the wine industry, more African people to the Wine Tasting World Cup. I think is that what it's called? Why?
I remember in 2015, in the World Cup, when I was still with Team South Africa, we were two black people, and both from South Africa and both from Africa, in the whole competition. My goal or target is to have at least 10 countries by 2025 from Africa, which are going to go to the World Blind Wine Tasting Championships. You know, so yeah, I think by doing that, we can actually put not just our country on the map, but to put our continent on the map. And that's what we need. We need to support our own, and it's been really lacking.
Joseph, talking about appreciating our own, I've certainly started to see, not necessarily in the wine space, but in the broader beverage and spirit space, people making use of some of our own traditional fruits as ingredients. So things like Masao wines and whiskeys, and I believe you've also done some Zumbani gin, Marula fruits, and those sort of things being introduced into some of the beverages that people are marketing and selling. Do you see that as an opportunity for a country like Zimbabwe perhaps to make its mark and maybe create a niche in the global beverage market?
Of course, yes. I mean, there is nothing wrong really by using the indigenous fruits which we have, and or to showcase some of the fruits or botanicals which we have in the country. I mean, that product will be quite unique too. I mean, to us, as long as it's done properly.
And as you're quite rightly saying, it also starts with making the locals appreciate their own, that, you know, this is actually from Mahusekwa. We've picked this from the forest of Guru.
Exactly. Look, that's also very important. You're going to have to make sure that the locals are supporting you. The spine or backbone of your business has to start within where you're actually making whether your product, whatever it is, wine, gin, and all that stuff. I mean, you can be known worldwide out there, but then you need these people to support you. You need your presence in the country. You know, your brand has to be known where you were born. Your brand has to be known in the region, like certain circles where you actually grew up in. And believe you me, these people will actually appreciate it more than those who actually relying on reading. You know, these people have actually been seeing you foraging in Chirumanzu, like literally all these things. So it's very, very important, really.
As it stands, perhaps this is out of the reach of many. Is there a way to make it more affordable? Or, I don't know.
There are really many wines out there. I mean, from maybe $2, $3, $4, $5 all the way up. It depends with how much you can actually afford. But coming back to Mosi, we are trying our best to make sure that we cater for all categories. You know, I mean, would like to have someone with $5 to buy a bottle of wine and enjoy it, good wine, and would like someone with $10, $15, and like stuff like that, really to be able to afford Mosi wines. We just want to jump the gun and do that. We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. You're going to have to start on a very good note. We don't want to just commercialize everything purely because we need money. I always tend to make something which I can enjoy myself. I don't want to make something for the sake of it, and I don't want to follow the trend of making 3, 4, 5 100,000 bottles of wine purely because we want to cater for the masses. The product has to be good before you actually put it on the market. So we actually on the verge of doing that. We're bottling something soon.
Fantastic. We look forward to it, and we'll certainly be watching developments. I want to thank you so much for coming through to the program. It's been great speaking to you.
It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic.
Good.
The discussion continues as we shift focus to two women involved in the wine industry locally. Caroline Madziwa is the founder of Rwendo Wines, a locally manufactured wine that is trying to break into this industry, and you've been at this for a number of years, Caroline. So I want to ask you, is there an industry to speak of in this country?
I can say it's there, but it's very silent. That is why you find there are now sommeliers, there are now winemakers here in Zimbabwe who are now trying to revamp the industry because it's something that has been very quiet for quite some time. Remember, we would say people don't cite Zimbabwe as a winemaking country, but remember there is Mukwi Winery, which used to produce wines. Then there's also Bushman's Rock. So we can't totally say we don't have that here in Zimbabwe. The industry is there. It just needs us to do more work on it and to make wines be known and appreciated here in the country.
What are some of the challenges that you'd say you have faced on your journey, or perhaps continue to face now as you try to make a name for Rwendo?
Remember, Rwendo is not the first brand. There are so many wines that are in the market that have been in the market always, and people are loyal to the brands that they know. So trying to change people's perception or change people's taste regarding to wines and educating them on why they should drink our wines is quite difficult. But we are happy because we are now getting recognition, and we now have got people here in Zimbabwe who are now supporting, especially with Rwendo. You find with the brand name, everyone has got a journey. So people do relate to the journey. So you find the storytelling part of the brand, it has made us to be on the map.
Do you think there's, or have you received any support as a young person, as a woman-led business, in terms of support from the authorities or anywhere else in business?
At first, it was very difficult because we spent like the whole year trying to get out the wines in the restaurants, to get people to drink the wines, but it was difficult. But right now, I'm very happy because you find, especially for the first time, women are supporting. Yes, people are now supporting, though we are not yet there, but we do have people supporting the brand, especially women. I will repeat that.
That's from a customer point of view. From a policy point of view, I think just in terms of maybe making it easier for you to operate in business, maybe making it easier to facilitate bringing the wines here. Is there anything that you think government or the authorities could do more of, or that you'd want them to do?
Yes, there's quite a lot, because you find with wines, people think it's luxury, but then that is why we put it in terms of wine tastings, wine education. So we need the government to consider us as an industry also regarding tourism, because this is part of tourism. So we need maybe boards like the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, so many facilities, so many boards regarding the tourism sector to also be giving us the limelight and welcoming us to maybe have partnerships and to work with them, which will make life very easy for us.
Okay. Rwendo, the journey. Where is it taking you to from here? I can't.
Okay, we need growth. We need to grow right now. So I can't give you the 5-year plans of Rwendo, because there are so many markets that we haven't penetrated, which I feel that we need to be penetrating, and we need to be marketing the wines in such a way that Rwendo will be all over Zimbabwe first, before we talk about
You've told me it hasn't been easy. It's been a tough road. There have been some barriers along the way. You still keep pushing. You're determined. You're optimistic that this is where you should be and that this will work.
Definitely. Challenges are things that we face day to day, but I can't stop and cry in the bed. I still have to make it work. I still have to go out there. I still have to talk about Rwendo. I still have to give people reason why they should be drinking wine, why they should be having wine for dinner, why they should be attending wine pairing events, why they should be maybe investing in the wine education. So we are not going to stop.
Fantastic. I want to thank you so much, Caroline, for being on the program and for sharing your insights. And we wish you all the best on your journey.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, this is the best part of the show because now we get to the bar where all the action is, and I'm joined by Kyla. Great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, we've been talking about wines, and, one of the questions I've been asking is, does Zimbabwe have a wine drinking culture?
The answer is yes. I do believe that there's a wine drinking culture in Zim. We here at Restaurant JDB offer wine tastings with our menus, and it is the most popular, along with the menus, it's the most popular thing people come for. So I think there is a wine culture. People enjoy tasting and drinking good wines. I do think that more can be done though.
Indeed. And
Yes.
people such as yourselves who are sommeliers are helping to do that.
We are, and I feel like from the wine tasting perspective, there's an education platform to our guests. But I do also think that there is a gap in the market for our youth, for our restaurants to have educated staff talking about wines to all these people. There can't just be one area that they can come and enjoy wine information, wine education, trying new wines. So we've got to elevate it throughout the whole of Zimbabwe.
Indeed. And to get that discussion in the education that you're talking about, I understand that you have the first and only wine school in the country. Tell us a bit about that.
So I have the first WSET wine school. So that is the Wine Spirits and Education Trust school. They're based in London. They are now in 74 countries. There was 73. So it is an internationally recognized course, which is absolutely fantastic. You can build from a foundation level if you're just interested in wines, right the way through to being a qualified sommelier, which opens the world up to you. Yachts, ships, restaurants internationally. So it really is a great platform for youngsters and people who love wines to start being educated. It is a great platform for the restaurants here in Zim to have educated staff, give that extra experience to the guests that walk through their door.
Yeah, and indeed enhance the customer service. I think what's also very important, the point you've just made about the youths and how the world becomes your oyster, because this opens up so many other avenues and doors.
Absolutely. And we have the Joseph, you've just had a chat to him, as such an inspiration to our youth. And if you see the doors and the platforms that have opened for them, it's not just working internationally. You could have your own wine brand. But for me, it is educating our youth. It's opening up the world. Go and experience things. Go see different cultures. It's all about people connecting with people. And for me, that is a big thing.
How easy is it, the course?
The WSET, they're renowned for being it's a rigorous course. If you hold a qualification, I think that's why it's so highly regarded internationally. If you hold that qualification, they know you know what you're doing. So it isn't easy, which is why we say start at the bottom and build your way up, get that foundation knowledge. But it's doable. We stand here as qualified sommeliers. We've done it. It is doable, and it does just open the world up for you. So it's a great opportunity.
Fantastic. It's been great speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you all the best, and hopefully so many students who will come through will also be able to get fantastic opportunities in the future.
Agreed. Thank you.
Great.